No doubt Formula One is a sport that thrives on innovation, competition, and the relentless pursuit of perfection. Over the decades, many teams have come and gone. Still, few have left an unforgettable mark that will forever be remembered in F1 history. F1 has iconic teams like Ferrari, McLaren, and Mercedes, consistently competing at the highest level. However, in 2009, Brawn GP, a new team, came into the scene and changed everything. Brawn GP claimed the Drivers' and Constructors' Championships in their debut and only season. They even survived a catastrophic financial crisis and rewrote the history books in their only season in the sport. But what is Brawn GP and who is the brain behind this iconic team? And how did they become a force to be reckoned with in Formula One? Well, you're about to find out. Join us as we explore the untold story of how Brawn GP changed the face of F1 forever. The 2008 global financial crisis caused serious trouble across many industries, including motorsport. Honda, a major car company, was hit hard as its profits dropped sharply. This made it difficult for the company to keep up with the constant need for new ideas and the high costs that motorsport requires. Honda's decision to exit left the future of their F1 team hanging by a thread. Despite considerable investment in developing their 2009 car, the economic realities forced Honda away from the sport. This sudden withdrawal was a massive blow, not just for the employees but for the sport itself. The question on everyone's mind was, what would happen to the Honda team? Amid the uncertainties, a seasoned F1 strategist and Honda's team principal, Ross Brawn, saw an opportunity. Brawn is known for his technical expertise and success with Ferrari during the Schumacher era. Rather than letting the team fall apart, Brawn took a bold step and bought the team for a symbolic £1. This was a daring and desperate move, as Brawn took on the enormous challenge of saving the team and making it competitive. The team was rebranded as Brawn GP. Despite having limited time and resources, they pushed forward to prepare for the 2009 season. The transition was far from smooth, with the team facing numerous challenges, including securing an engine supplier and managing a bare-bones budget. However, under Ross Brawn's leadership and with the team's resilience, they began to show signs of promise as the new season approached. However, the 2009 Formula One season brought significant regulation changes, with the most impactful being modifications to car aerodynamics. The new rules aimed to reduce downforce, making the cars harder to drive and, in theory, leveling the playing field. The changes also included competing on a narrower rear wing and a wider front wing. It also reintroduced slick tires after an 11-year one. Teams had to rethink their entire tactics for car design. The intention was to create more overtaking opportunities and shake up the grid. The new regulations present both a challenge and an opportunity for Brawn GP. With a clean slate, the team could design their car around the new rules without the baggage of previous year's designs. The Brawn GP engineers, led by Ross Brawn, worked tirelessly to adapt to the latest regulations, and the design team ultimately created one of the most innovative cars in the sport's history. An important element of Brawn GP's success was the discovery and implementation of a double diffuser. Their car was developed to meet up with the new regulations. Honda's engineers discovered a loophole in the regulations that allowed them to introduce a brilliant aerodynamic innovation. The double diffuser concept exploited a gray area in the regulations concerning the car's rear floor design. This innovation increased downforce, which significantly improved the car's cornering speeds and overall track performance. While other teams were still dealing with the new rules, Brawn GP halved a secret weapon that led them to the front of the grid. Then, the preseason testing began. The sport first saw the Brawn GP car, the BGP 001. Expectations were modest, given the team's last-minute formation and financial struggles. However, the results were nothing short of impressive. From the second test session, it became clear that Brawn GP had something special. The BGP 001 consistently topped the timing sheets. It outpaced established teams like Ferrari, McLaren, and Red Bull. No one anticipated their immediate success. The double diffuser and the car's overall design were the magic they were able to hack in quick time, thanks to the new regulations. But like any promising team in F1, there was scrutiny over Brawn GP's unexpected pace. Rival teams quickly realized the secret to Brawn GP's speed lay in their innovative double diffuser. Teams like Ferrari, Red Bull, and Renault lodged formal protests as the season approached. They argued that using double diffusers violated the spirit of the 2009 regulations. The controversy escalated quickly, and FIA was called upon to make a ruling. The teams argued that Brawn GP and other teams using similar designs were gaining an unfair advantage, and asserted that the fairness of the competition was being compromised. After careful deliberation, the FIA deemed using double diffusers legal. It allows Brawn GP to continue using it throughout the season. This decision was a turning point, as it forced rival teams to either develop their versions of the diffuser or fall behind in the championship race. The protests may have slowed Brawn GP momentarily, but could not derail the team's strong will to win the competition. The 2009 Formula One season kicked off in Australia. Driving for the newly formed team, Jenson Button took pole position and won the race. His teammate Rubens Barrichello finished second. It was a beautiful start for a team on the brink of collapse months earlier. Brawn GP's dominance continued in the early races. They also had victories in Malaysia, Bahrain, and Spain. The team led the championship standings by a considerable margin. Combining the double diffuser and the car's overall design gave Brawn GP a major advantage on various types of circuits. The success of Brawn GP was a shock to the known powerhouses of Formula One. Ferrari, McLaren, and Renault were left to play catch-up. The story of Brawn GP was becoming the stuff of legends as they seemed unstoppable in their pursuit of glory. Nevertheless, Brawn GP faced serious financial challenges despite their success on the track. The team's budget was a fraction of that of their rivals. They operated with a lean staff and limited resources. While other teams enjoyed the luxury of continuous development and upgrades, Brawn GP had to work with limited resources. They even struggled to update their car, and soon, the performance gap between Brawn GP and their competitors began to narrow. The initial advantage from the double diffuser was slowly fading as other teams caught up with their own advancements. Lack of funding also meant that Brawn GP had to approach the remaining races strategically. They couldn't afford to take risks with experimental parts or aggressive strategies. Instead, they focused on maintaining their lead in the championship. As Brawn GP continued to enjoy early dominance, a new challenger emerged as the season progressed. With their young and talented driver Sebastian Vettel, Red Bull Racing began closing the Brawn GP gap. Vettel's aggressive driving style and Red Bull's continuous car development made them a formidable competitor in the latter half of the season. As the championship battle heated up, Brawn GP's Jenson Button found himself under mounting pressure from Sebastian Vettel. The Red Bull car, masterfully designed by the legendary Adrian Newey, seemed to get faster with every race. Vettel's impressive performances in races like China and Silverstone brought him ever closer to Button in the standings, turning what was once a comfortable lead into a razor-thin margin. With each race, the possibility of Red Bull snatching the title grew. However, Button's consistency and the points he had accumulated early in the season kept him ahead. Brawn GP's lead in the championship was tested to the limit as the 2009 season drew close. Despite the challenges, especially the close gap from Red Bull, Jenson Button and Brawn GP held on, and the penultimate race in Brazil was where history was made. Jenson Button drove a masterful race in Brazil as he secured enough points to clinch the Drivers' Championship. Brawn GP also secured the Constructors' Championship. The team's achievement was unexpected. In their first and only season, they had won both the Drivers' and Constructors' titles, a feat never seen before in F1 history. This makes the 2009 season forever golden in the history of Formula One. From the brink of collapse to the pinnacle of success, Brawn GP's story defied all expectations and left an unforgettable mark on the sport. Although the team was eventually purchased by Mercedes in 2010, the legacy of Brawn GP lives on, not just in the history books, but in the ongoing success of its evolution into Mercedes-AMG. The newly branded team went on to dominate the sport in the following decade, making the story of Brawn GP a powerful inspiration and a reminder that in Formula One, a single season can change everything forever.